C# and the .NET framework are two components created by Microsoft to empower programmers to build any type of Windows applications. To understand .NET, you have to ignore the outdated marketing rubbish that blankets the internet and just remember these three simple points. .NET is a development framework full of tools and programming languages for writing software applications. .NET is a runtime engine that is installed on computers to allow them to run .NET applications. .NET is a massive yet rich programming library containing helper classes that simplify writing Windows, web, and other types of programs. With the first version of the .NET framework, Microsoft plugged .NET as a platform for building web services and large-scale enterprise systems. Yes, .NET is useful for creating web services, but they are a tiny little part of what .NET is all about. Recently, say within the last 3 years, Microsoft has broadcast a smarter message regarding the power of .NET. Finally, they are stating that it is good for cross-platform applications via Silverlight. They are now explaining that developers can make rich data-driven applications with Windows Presentation Foundation and WCF or RIA services. Or if you have a simple needs, think about using C# Express or Visual Studio Lightswitch for building quick, elegant applications. So yes, I think they are finally getting better at telling us how wide-ranging and extensive .NET really is. Let's look at the 3 points I mentioned earlier in more detail. First point, .NET is a developer framework. Microsoft has championed programmers since its inception. .NET is a culmination of years of work producing programming frameworks. The current version of .NET is version 4.0. Developers need programming languages, and .NET has plenty. It contains nearly a dozen programming languages. I've listed a few of them here. C#, Managed C++, Visual Basic, a new language called F#, JavaScript, and many more. There are an additional 130 languages created by third parties that run on .NET. Some of the more familiar of these are Fortran, Pascal, Ada, Smalltalk, Ruby, and Python. There are lots of development tools included in the package. There are compilers, assemblers and disassemblers, and profilers. Also included are Windows installer generators, instrumentation tools, and several types of debuggers. My second point is that .NET is a runtime engine. .NET code cannot run without the help of a runtime engine. The Common Language Runtime, or CLR, is included in the framework package. You need the runtime on your computer to execute your code after compiling it on your developer box. Your users need to have it installed on their systems too. Luckily, it's free to include the .NET framework with your application as part of your installer package. It's also pre-installed on many versions of Windows and is also available through Windows Update. The CLR provides a huge list of services for your application. First of all, it handles memory allocations and deallocations via garbage collection. This sophisticated system constantly adjusts its collection algorithms based on your application memory usage patterns. The CLR provides several threading tools, including the easy-to-use thread pool class. If used correctly, the thread pool will work flawlessly with multiple core computers, spreading the workload as efficiently as possible. Your application code is compiled on the fly during application runtime by the CLR's just-in-time compiler. This permits the runtime to determine the best possible way to generate the native code for the current machine. The CLR provides the common type system, which ensures types are able to interact with all .NET languages. The CLR also verifies that all code is safe to run before compiling and execution occurs. It also ensures that each type is used in the correct manner. There is also an exception management system that allows you to gracefully recover from troublesome runtime errors, and a system for calling native Win32 APIs or COM libraries from your managed code. All in all, the CLR is a robust runtime mechanism packed with indispensable services. My third point is that .NET is a rich programming API. The teams at Microsoft are constantly working to produce managed code libraries for .NET developers. Many of these libraries are included in the .NET 4.0 framework. In fact, there are literally thousands of .NET classes shipped in .NET 4. I've included some pages here that show some of the major categories of libraries. On this page, you can see some of the UI libraries. There's Windows Forms, a couple of ways of working with DirectX, Windows Presentation Foundation, and XNA. You can create cross-platform applications using Silverlight, and you can create HTML-based web pages using either the ASP.NET Web Pages model or the ASP.NET MVC model. Naturally, You need access to databases. You can use low-level ADO libraries like ADO.net, or you can use higher-level integrated querying languages like LINQ. On this page, you can see things like web services, input and output to your files and directories, working with groups of data through collections and arrays, taking an object and serializing its internal state, and then sending that state across a machine boundary or a process boundary. Different security mechanisms, ways of connecting to other networked computers, and sockets. Also, there's the generics library. You can take your application and localize it into different cultures. You can create your own performance monitors and ship them as part of your application. There's a new parallel computing library that makes it easier to read parallel code. There's also Managed Extensibility Framework, which is a new plug-and-play architecture. And Microsoft now has its latest version of its mobile platform called Windows Phone. This list is far from complete. Always remember that Microsoft is working on other libraries for the next version. Some of these new libraries on the horizon are HTML5, the Connect, Microsoft Surface, and Xbox Bits. Well, that does it for the .NET Framework Essentials. In the next video, I explain more about C#.